Tanzania Free State. Are you guys good? I'm good. We're good. Great. Welcome back to my channel in South Africa, our land. Guys, I'm not presently right now. I'm in a good mood. South Africa just won 7-0. I mean, Makazole just got man of the match, so I'm in a good mood, and I just felt like I should do a little Miss South Africa thing since I will never enter the competition. So yeah, all right. So I would personally like to welcome my subscribers. Road to 300 studies, yay! I mean, we've got people who've got like millions, but I'm happy. God be the glory about getting my 250 something studies. So welcome, guys. Welcome to in South Africa, our land. This channel basically tries to I need to start with the as well. So anyway, so this channel tries to simplify town planning for South Africans. Basically, the main purpose is to decipher the basic town planning terms and make sure that it tries to link and simplify and make sure that umama wase next door understands what town planning is all about, you know, and how they actually get to be involved in entire town planning. So I've done a public participation segment before, but it was based on something else. I'm very passionate about public participation because I know that we don't really know much about it, because as South Africans we think that our role ends in voting, and that's not the case. So this public participation focuses on spatial planning and how spatial planning can affect your everyday life. Disclaimer, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see. My laptop is here, and I'm gonna have to read a couple of things. So because of that, I'm gonna wear my glasses and then the glare thing is gonna happen, but I'm trying to avoid it for now, just so that we can understand each other. So spatial planning, we need to understand what spatial planning is. We've heard a lot, especially on Twitter, when they've basically thrown around the term apartheid spatial planning. And it's obviously the people who know what it is who would understand, and they would obviously tweet about it. You'd think that they know about it. But my goal here is to try and simplify it and say what it is in layman's terms in your everyday conversation. Okay, so we firstly need to need to understand what spatial planning is. So what spatial planning is basically just the use of space. What belongs where, so what should be here, what shouldn't be there. So it's forward planning, it's thinking ahead. Okay, so now we need what we need to build a city. So when we need to build a city, what are the things that are making, what are the things that are driving that city, or what are the things driving its growth, or whatever the term is, right? So basically if it's growing, if there's a lot of sports happening and growing up in this small town, what are the things that we need to facilitate sports? So we need fields, we need perhaps we might need schools that specialize on sports. So now where are we going to build those schools where they need to be? So who are the people who need that? You see, so it's basically in relation to the space where it is. So you check the things, basic things like the environment, you check things like who the people are and how they use the space. Also in terms of the fact that, let's say perhaps there's in the certain area there's a lot of walking, right? So if there's a lot of walking in this area, do we really need cars? You see, so now what do we do in order to make way for the people instead of the cars? So we make sure that we redirect the car traffic someplace else and we focus this place on walking. So it's things like that are included in spatial planning. So this is obviously done by town planners, where they study the contextual, they study the people, the sociological sides, the environments, the economical side of it, and then they see, okay, cool. So they also, in the process of actually making this document, a certain document called the Spatial Development Framework, what happens is that they do the contextual analysis, they do all those environmental, economic and whatnot. But the most important that I think part of the study is actually speaking to the people and saying, okay, we've done this study and we see that this is what is needed, but what do you think? You see, so they hold public platforms where they try and, so that's what basically what spatial planning is. So now we go back into the term what apartheid spatial planning is. So apartheid spatial planning was basically, okay, cool. What De Boer noticed was that they, so let's go back to the diamonds. Let's go back to the diamonds, mines, minerals. Yeah, we go back to that. So they noticed Uguti, they need labor for people to mine these mines. So they take people from the Bantustans and they put them in locations. So how basic townships. So what they did is that to make sure that they still have this labor force close to them, even though it's still a bit far, they make sure that the way they built the townships, the way they designed the township was that if something would ever happen in that township, they can close it off. So you'd see Uguti, there's one way inside a township and there's one way out of a township. And they made sure Uguti, it's only people who are living there. There's no space to have active markets there. So there's no space where a big trader, like let's say Amazon, would want to go build there. They don't make it, they look at the environment, that environment is not safe for people or for economies to thrive there. So they don't really look for the benefit of the future. They make sure that they confine these people into the fact that the only thing you do here is live. If you need to be economically active, you get out. But you being economically active means that you get out and you go serve us in our places that are economically active, and then you come back in again. So that was the mindset and how they built South Africa based on. So now planners of South Africa today are basically, they have that hardship where they basically just need to undo all of that, and it's difficult because it's a psychological thing, it's a physical thing, it's a lot. So yeah, so that's what planning is all about today. So whatever problems that we do have in South Africa, it's basically just that battle of trying to undo. And unfortunately, when you're undoing, you find yourself that you don't really make a connection in terms of what is the need now, because you're just undoing. You don't look at the need of what that undoing is doing, if you understand. Okay, cool. So back to the Spatial Development Framework. So basically the Spatial Development Framework, that's what it does. It basically looks at all those economic, the environment, the sociological side, the eco. You see, it looks at all of that and it sees, well, okay, this is what. So you have a national SDF, you have a local SDF, you have a regional SDF, you have a provincial SDF, it's big. So it goes down. So how would we apply that today, right? How do we see that? So I looked at a couple of tweets, and I remember this one tweet going on, and it was saying how Cape Town, how there is basically no parking in the Cape Town CBD. And then they also said that if there is parking, it's so expensive. It's really expensive. So I'll be looking a lot at Cape Town because the City of Cape Town website is very user friendly. So it's easy for me to click and find something that I need to look at, and then, yeah. So that's why I'm looking at this. There's no endorsement. I'm not in favor of. I'm literally finding, because it was just easy for me to just grab something quickly and make a small short presentation. Okay, cool. Now my glasses because I'm blind. Okay, cool. So the City of Cape Town basically said that what they're doing is that they are calling. So this is part of the process of public participation, where the City of Cape Town is basically calling the citizens of the City of Cape Town to come and comment in terms of the CBD and how they are planning to make it bigger, or whatever their plans are. So the planners of the City of Cape Town, they have basically put together this contextual analysis, and they have a document where now as a citizen, you can go through the website and you go see it, and you're like, okay, cool. This is what I like, this is what I don't like. You send your comment through, and then your town planners there are going to be like, okay, this is valid, this makes sense. And in that way, they try to include the people. So basically, I'm going to read through the objectives for the City of Cape Town's SDF. Well, the CBD SDF, precinct plan, whatever you want to call it. Okay, cool. So what they say here is that the objectives of the CBD transition is to understand the current and future context and functionality of the CBD from various perspectives, to plan for the transition to a more livable CBD with a resilient mix of uses that will be attractive to invest in and be inclusive to live in, to support the economic recovery of this Cape Town CBD through the formulation of medium to long-term spatial framework to guide future development investment according to a defined urban structure. So basically, you see what they're saying here. Let's say, for instance, they're saying here to plan for a transition to a more livable CBD with a resilient mix of to be attractive to invest in and inclusive to live in. So if you perhaps are against the fact that I know City of Cape Town, inclusive to live in, inclusive to who, that's something you can challenge, right? Because you will see what they're planning and you will notice this document and you'll be like, but like, what about these types of people, these groups of people? They really not, you don't really think the term inclusive to live in works out for a certain group of people. So you can challenge this and say, actually guys, this is what I think. Hence why you'll have a group of professionals who are mostly planners, and obviously your politicians and all of that will be like, okay, cool, maybe you've got a point, maybe you do not have a point. That's ideally the proper situation. That's ideally the umbrella part, the goodness of what public participation is all about. So you comment on whether you agree on whatever it is that they are saying. They also say here it's to reimagine the role and function of the CBD by formulating an overall vision and development strategy which is appropriate to the context of the CBD environment, and it's aligned to the Sustainable Goal 11 to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable by 2030. So that's basically, it seems airy-fairy, but when you go through the document, you need to be able to apply it to yourself as a citizen of Cape Town and make sure that you think Uguti it's good. So I also have a map here that basically just shows Uguti, they're calling it a transition plan. So it shows where the lines as Bonsayoba. This is where the NMT routes are going to go. So NMT, non-motorized transport. So it shows they're really trying to do away with a lot of cars in the CBD, making it a walking city, especially when it comes to the foreshore areas, the CBD, trying to avoid cars, where you'll have your cars in necessary and proper spaces. Because I mean, the CBD, everyone who's from Cape Town, that you can walk. It's walkable. It's, and it's also safe. It's safe. That's the goodness about it. Like wishy-washy and needs limited higher, but basically, the city of Cape Town has got plans for, East End, where they still sell the fruits, the vegetables, and whatnot. So they have a plan that they want to redirect it, or they want to place the people in certain areas, right? So now they're calling for umama, who is actually a person who sells, or utahata, who sells the fruits and the veggies in the Bellville area, to come hither and comment on whatever it is that they have. So in City of Cape Town, they have the Informal Trading Bylaw, right? And I have a little definition of what it means, the definition and whatnot, and what it means, etc., and what it does and what it's for. So it's basically a preamble that says, in terms of the Constitution, the city is responsible for trading regulations, markets, street trading, beaches within the area of jurisdiction. One of the city's objectives is to promote social and economic development. So it also says the city recognizes the key role that informal trading plays in poverty alleviation, income generation, and entrepreneurial development, and in particular the positive impact that informal trading has on historically disadvantaged individuals and communities. Okay, cool. So basically, this is the preamble of the trading bylaw. So the informal trading bylaw, it sets rules in terms of the fact that you need to have your proper papers for trade in order for you to be able to trade in these areas that they have demarcated for trading. Okay, cool. So So basically, I have a map that is showing that where they propose to have stands. And I think it's very important for even you watching this video to basically just go ahead and just tell umama that you know who sells stuff there that, mama, this and this is happening, so do you think this is a good idea? Because this is part of the public participation, and it's a small part of a precinct plan. A precinct plan is also a small part of a local spatial development framework, you see. So it basically just shows what it is and on a map and what they plan, and people, you are allowed to go and comment if you have objections, or even if you support these things, right? So the point of this, the review, this is what I'm going to read again, what the City of Cape Town says, and what their point is, what they aim of having a review of the informal trading plan for Bellville CBD, the Bellrail, and the Harde Gralki that is existing, and also the proposed trading bays for this. So basically they're asking why is that the rise of traders without permits in the area, that the demand for informal trading opportunities far exceeds its current supply. This results in informal trading taking place in inappropriate areas. So this is also negative impacts, meaning the negative impacts basically affect the placemaking, safety, traffic congestion, and overtrading. So when you say placemaking, it's basically what belongs where, and how a place feels for the certain users, for the everyday users. So if you don't feel safe because there's a lot of people there, that's a problem, because then it basically feeds onto that, and eventually the area becomes crime ridden and whatnot. So town planners also try to avoid that. And then so number 3, they say here, the current approved trading plan accommodates 242 informal trading opportunities, which included the selling of clothing, food, fruit and vegetables, and luxuries. So across the Bellville Central Business District and the public transport interchange PTI, so in around the taxi rank. So this is why basically. So it's very important for everyone to understand that if ukhona ubaba omaziyo of iman anders wat jy ken, en jy moet vir hulle say that they need to go out and they need to comment on this. And the unfortunate part, yes, I'm praising the City of Cape Town for having this access on the internet, but the unfortunate part is that the people that need to know this, I doubt they know. I mean, I stand to be corrected, but I don't think that there were pamphlets that were given to those people and to tell them that, mama, there's a new plan, there's a change in your bylaw, therefore you need to go and comment through the City of Cape Town. So the City of Cape Town, you need to comment in the hub. You can go to the Bellville. Is it Bellville? Yeah, you go to the municipality in Bellville. I think it's in Paro or something like that. I'm not sure. And you tell them that actually, you know what? I saw this and I don't agree with that, because the summer stand is here and now this plan is saying that it's going to be removed. Therefore, it's not good for me because it's going to be far away from this and this and this. You have a right to say that. So unfortunately, the sad part is the fact that these people who are affected, they don't know. And this thing, now I saw it on the internet because I'm basically on the internet every single day. But it doesn't affect me because I don't trade. You see? So that's where it lacks in public participation. But I mean, this is just one era that I've seen. There are plenty of eras. I mean, some other municipalities don't even have a website in South Africa. You see? So their rights, I guess, will be violated, those people in those municipalities. You see? So yeah, that's what town planning is on a day-to-day. So town planning is not just us sitting and drawing and saying this building must go there. No. It's in depth. We are in all specific areas. We don't just deal with houses or just buildings where they should be or whether they're not allowed to be there. In order for us to make a comment on a building plan, we look at your SDFs and we look at the bylaws and we look at your different your land use schemes. And those land use schemes are all supposedly supposed to be commented by the public before they're actually put in play. Hence why when you see a town planner's report, it refers to the municipal planning bylaw of what, because that planning bylaw was supposed to have been commented on by various people, including the public, including the various professions, including the people of the different municipal departments. So yeah, that's basically it. I talk. But anyways, it was good to be back. It was good to be, I'm hoping that I make more of these videos. I'm really hoping that I've got something else for you guys next week. But until then, thanks. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you again for tuning in, and definitely don't forget to hit that notification bell and like, share, comment, and subscribe. From me to you in South Africa, our land, Tamago.